the Resurrection and Ascension. The morning after Sabbath, Mary Magdalene visited the tomb of Jesus. The stone at the mouth of the tomb had rolled away. When she stepped inside, she was shocked. Jesus' body had disappeared. Mary started crying. Suddenly, two angels appeared and asked Mary why she was crying. She said that Jesus' body was missing. The angels told her not to be afraid. They said that she had no reason to look for the body, as the Son of God had already risen. Excited with the news, Mary went away to tell Jesus' disciples. Peter and John came running. They went inside the tomb. It was empty. The linen cloth that Jesus was wrapped in was folded neatly and kept on the side. Jesus had indeed risen from the dead. The disciples went back home hurriedly to spread the good news. Mary remained standing outside the tomb, crying quietly. Suddenly, she heard a voice calling her, "Mary!" It was Jesus. Mary turned and joyfully exclaimed, "Rabboni!" meaning teacher. Jesus said, "Tell my people to go to Galilee. There they shall see me." Mary went away and informed everyone. Two disciples were on their way back home from Jerusalem to a village called Emmaus. They were talking about the terrible things that had happened in the last few days. Jesus started walking beside them, but they did not recognize him. Jesus asked, "What are you discussing?" "Haven't you heard?" one of the men said. "Jesus of Nazareth, the one we believed was the promised Messiah, has been put to death." Jesus asked, "Don't they say that the Messiah should suffer and then be glorified?" And starting with Moses and then with the other prophets, Jesus explained to them all the passages in the scriptures that referred to him. In the meantime, they reached the village. The men invited Jesus to have supper with them. When they sat down to eat, Jesus took the bread, blessed it, and gave it to them. At that very moment, the disciples recognized him. Jesus, however, disappeared. At once, both the disciples returned to Jerusalem. They found the other disciples and told them that it was true that Jesus had risen from the dead. Jesus' main disciples had locked themselves in a room, fearing the Jews. Jesus came there and stood among them. "Peace be with you," he said, and showed them the marks on his hand and on his side. They were delighted to see their Lord again. Thomas, one of the 12 main disciples, was not present in the meeting. He later said, "Unless I see the nail marks and put my hand onto his side, I will not believe." 8 days later, the disciples were in the house again, this time with Thomas. The doors were locked. Suddenly, Jesus was there among them. "Peace be with you," he said. Turning to Thomas, Jesus said, "See my hands, Thomas. Put your hand onto my side. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas fell to his knees in front of Jesus. He felt sorry for doubting his Lord. He cried, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said, "Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet they believe. Jesus appeared in front of his disciples for 40 days after he had risen from the dead. On the last day, he told them that the Holy Spirit would live within them. With his hands raised in blessing, Jesus was lifted up and a huge cloud took him out of sight. The disciples were still staring upwards long after he had gone. All of a sudden, two angels appeared. They told the disciples, Jesus has been taken up into heaven. One day, he will return in the same way as you have seen him go. The disciples praised God and went back to Jerusalem with their hearts full of joy. Jesus had told Simon Peter that he wanted him to spread his gospel. Gospel means teaching of Jesus. Jesus, God's Son, had come down to the earth, did miracles, and finally died on the cross as a sacrifice for the sins of the whole world. Anyone who believes in Jesus shall never perish, but shall live forever with him in heaven. Thanks for watching. Do like, share, subscribe to Sahil Book House.